listen to me, you've been living under the weight of opinions, doubts, and fears for far too long. And the truth is, your life will not change when your circumstances change. Your life will change when you change. Our life changes when you change, because everything you experience in the outside world is a reflection of what's happening inside of you. If you keep thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, and repeating the same patterns, you will continue to get the same results. Many people wait for their circumstances to magically improve, thinking that once they get more money, a better job, a new relationship, or the perfect opportunity, their life will finally be different. But the truth is, even if you got all of those things, without inner change, you would find yourself right back in the same place emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. When you begin to change, your perspective changes. The same problem that once felt like a mountain now looks like a small hill you can climb. The same criticism that once broke you now becomes feedback you can use to grow. The same fear that used to stop you becomes fuel to push you forward. The shift happens because you have decided to no longer see life through the eyes of limitation, but through the lens of possibility. This internal transformation is what creates external breakthroughs. It's not about pretending your challenges don't exist. It's about becoming the kind of person who can face them without crumbling. When you change, you stop running from your problems and start running toward your purpose. You start showing up to life with strength and clarity. You understand that the obstacle is not there to stop you, but to shape you. The stronger you become inside, the more you realize that no external situation has the power to define you unless you give it permission. Change begins with a decision. It's the decision to stop blaming others, stop blaming your past, and start taking responsibility for your future. When you take ownership of your actions, your emotions, and your choices, you step into a new level of power. You understand that you are not a victim of life. You are a creator in it. That single shift in identity is enough to transform how you speak, how you think, and how you move. Once you change the way you think, you naturally change the way you act. Thoughts influence emotions, and emotions influence actions. If you think differently about yourself, you will carry yourself differently. You'll walk into a room with a presence that commands respect, not because you demand it from others, but because you already believe it within yourself. That belief radiates, and people respond to it. When you change internally, your relationships change as well. You start attracting people who match your new level of self-respect, self-worth, and vision. Toxic patterns begin to fade because you no longer tolerate what you once allowed. The people who drain your energy fall away, and the people who push you higher begin to appear. You don't have to chase these connections. They are drawn to the energy you've cultivated within. Opportunities that once seemed invisible start showing up in your life. They were always there, but you couldn't see them before because your mindset was clouded by doubt and fear. Change clears the fog. Suddenly, the job you thought you weren't qualified for becomes a possibility. The dream you once thought was too big begins to feel within reach. The resources, ideas, and solutions you need start flowing toward you because you've aligned yourself with them through your transformation. The way you handle setbacks also changes. Instead of seeing them as failures, you view them as lessons. Every closed door becomes a redirection towards something better. Every delay becomes preparation for a greater opportunity. Your emotional stability grows, and you no longer get shaken by every minor inconvenience. You develop resilience, the ability to keep moving forward regardless of what's happening around you. This change doesn't happen overnight, but it starts in a single moment of decision. It's the moment you stop waiting for life to hand you something better and start creating it yourself. Each choice you make from that point on builds momentum. The more you act in alignment with your new self, the more your life begins to shift to reflect it. The beautiful thing about this process is that once you change, you can never go back to who you were before. You've seen too much, grown too much, and experienced too much to shrink back into the old version of yourself. You carry yourself with a new level of confidence and clarity because you understand that everything you want to experience on the outside begins with the transformation that happens on the inside. You already have the permission to dream bigger, to take action, to step into the life you've been imagining. For too long, you've been waiting for someone to validate your ideas, to approve your plans, to confirm your worth. But the truth is, you were born with that approval already embedded in you. The moment you were created, the permission to live fully and unapologetically was placed inside your heart. The only reason you feel like you're lacking it is because you've been conditioned to think that someone else has to give it to you. You already have the permission to start before you feel ready. There will never be a perfect time, a flawless plan, or a moment when fear completely disappears. If you keep waiting for the stars to align before you move, you'll spend your whole life standing still. The people who succeed are not the ones who had everything figured out. They are the ones who decided to start anyway. The green light you're looking for isn't out there, it's in you. You already have the permission to stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand your vision. Not everyone will see what you see, and not everyone will believe in what you believe. That's okay, because your vision was given to you, not them. You don't need to convince the world before you move forward. You don't need the crowd's applause before you take the first step. Sometimes you have to move quietly, confidently, and consistently, knowing that the results will speak louder than any explanation. You already have the permission to break free from the expectations that have been placed on you. Maybe you've been living in a box someone else built, doing what they think you should do, becoming who they think you should be. But your life is not a performance for someone else's approval. You are allowed to create your own definition of success, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You don't owe the world conformity, you owe yourself authenticity. You already have the permission to fail without letting it define you. Failure is not a final sentence. It's feedback. It's proof that you had the courage to try. Every successful person you admire has a history of mistakes, rejections, and setbacks. The difference is they didn't let those moments convince them to stop. You can fall, you can stumble, you can lose, but as long as you get back up, you are still in the game. You already have the permission to outgrow people, places, and versions of yourself that no longer serve you. Growth will always require separation from old habits, old environments, and sometimes even old relationships. This isn't selfish, it's necessary. You can't step into the next chapter of your life while clinging to everything from the last one. The more you evolve, the more you will feel a pull to align your surroundings with who you are becoming. You already have the permission to speak life over yourself every single day. Too many people are waiting for others to encourage them, not realizing they have the ability to encourage themselves. Your words have power. You can declare that you are capable, worthy, and ready even before you see the evidence. And when you speak it long enough, you start to believe it. When you believe it, You start to live it. You already have the permission to set boundaries and protect your energy. Not every opportunity deserves your time, and not every person deserves access to your heart. You are allowed to say no without guilt, to walk away without apology, and to prioritize your peace without explanation. The more you guard your time and mental space, the more room you create for the things that truly matter. You already have the permission to pursue the life you want without waiting for everyone to understand it. The truth is, most people won't see your vision until it's a reality. That's why you can't measure your worth by their reaction. Your path is yours, and you have the right to walk it boldly. Even if the world says you're unqualified, even if they say you're unrealistic, you are still allowed to try, to grow, and to win. You already have the permission to stop asking for permission. The doors you've been waiting for someone else to open might be doors you can unlock yourself. You've been holding the keys all along. You just needed to believe you were allowed to use them. The moment you embrace that truth, you step into a freedom that no one can take away, because it was never given to you by them in the first place. The greatest battle is in your mind, because that is where every victory or defeat is first decided. Before you take action, before you make a move, before you speak a word, it all begins as a thought. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, they will shape the way you see yourself and the way you approach life. The mind can be your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. And the difference lies in which thoughts you choose to entertain and which ones you choose to reject. The greatest battle is in your mind, because your beliefs set the boundaries for what you think is possible. If you believe you're not good enough, you will unconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you believe success is for other people but not for you, you will never give yourself permission to try. These beliefs act like invisible walls, and the only way to break through them is to challenge the lies you've been living with and replace them with truths that empower you. The greatest battle is in your mind, because your inner voice shapes your identity. That constant conversation you have with yourself throughout the day is either building you up or breaking you down. If your mind is filled with criticism, comparison, and condemnation, you'll find it almost impossible to walk in confidence. But when you train your thoughts to speak life, encouragement, and possibility over yourself, you begin to see yourself in a new light, and that changes everything. The greatest battle is in your mind, because it determines how you respond to challenges. Two people can face the exact same situation. One sees it as a disaster, the other as an opportunity. The difference isn't the problem itself, but the mindset they bring to it. If your mind is conditioned to see problems as roadblocks, you will stop moving. If your mind is trained to see them as stepping stones, you will find a way to move forward no matter how difficult the path. The greatest battle is in your mind, because it decides how far your persistence will go. Every time you feel like quitting, it's your mind telling you that it's too hard, too late, or too much. But your mind can also tell you, keep going. You're closer than you think. The words you repeat to yourself in those moments will either fuel your resilience or drain your willpower. That is why mental strength is as important as physical action. Without it, you will stop long before you reach the finish line. The greatest battle is in your mind, because it influences how you interpret failure. Some people see failure as the end. Others see it as feedback. The same event can either crush you or teach you, depending on how your mind processes it. If you decide in your mind that failure means you're not capable, you will shrink back from trying again. But if you decide that failure is simply part of the process, you will keep learning, adapting, and moving forward. The greatest battle is in your mind because it controls your focus. Whatever you focus on expands, and if your mind is always focused on problems, fears, and worst-case scenarios, that is what you will continue to experience. But if your mind learns to focus on possibilities, gratitude, and solutions, your life will begin to align with that energy. Focus is a choice, and the quality of your thoughts will determine the quality of your results. The greatest battle is in your mind because it is where fear is either fueled or silenced. Fear begins as a thought, an image of something going wrong, a scenario that hasn't even happened yet. The more you dwell on it, the stronger it grows. But the moment you confront those thoughts with truth, courage, and action, fear begins to lose its grip. Your mind has the power to turn fear into paralysis or into preparation, depending on how you use it. The greatest battle is in your mind because it can create reality before it even happens. Your imagination is a powerful tool. It can be used to create visions of success or to replay scenes of defeat. The pictures you hold in your mind influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your actions. If you want a different life, you have to start by creating a different picture in your mind and rehearsing it until it feels real enough to move toward. The greatest battle is in your mind because it is the gatekeeper of every dream, every goal, and every possibility you have. You can have all the resources, opportunities, and connections in the world, but if your mind refuses to believe in them, they will slip through your hands. Likewise, even with limited resources, a strong mind can find a way to win, to grow, and to rise. The battle starts and ends in your thoughts, and the side you feed the most will always determine the outcome. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it means you are choosing to live in agreement with the truth of who you are and what you're capable of. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about recognizing that you were created with value, gifts, and potential that are worth developing. When you believe in yourself, you're not inflating your importance. You're simply refusing to shrink yourself to fit the limits that others may try to place on you. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it connects you with your purpose. Every person is born with a unique combination of strengths, passions, and experiences that equip them for their calling. When you doubt yourself, you disconnect from that calling and settle for less than what you were made to do. But when you believe in yourself, you're aligning your thoughts and actions with the path you were meant to walk, allowing your purpose to flow naturally through your life. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it's grounded in responsibility, not ego. Arrogance says, I don't need to grow, I already know it all, but true self-belief says, I know I'm capable, and I'm committed to becoming better every day. It's about taking ownership of your potential and being willing to work hard to develop it. That mindset keeps you humble enough to learn while remaining confident enough to act. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it frees you from comparison. When you're truly confident in who you are, you don't need to compete for validation or prove your worth by outshining others. You understand that your journey is your own, and you can celebrate other people's success without it diminishing your own. Arrogance thrives on comparison, but alignment thrives on authenticity, and believing in yourself is an act of standing in that authenticity. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it honors the potential that's already inside you. To ignore your abilities or to hide your gifts is to waste what you've been given. When you believe in yourself, you're acknowledging that your skills, talents, and opportunities are not accidental. They were entrusted to you for a reason. This belief fuels the motivation to use them fully, rather than letting them go to waste through fear or doubt. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it shifts the way you make decisions. Instead of acting from a place of insecurity or trying to please everyone else, you start making choices that align with your values, goals, and vision for the future. This kind of clarity brings peace because you know you're moving in a direction that matches who you truly are rather than bending to external pressure. Believing in yourself is alignment, not arrogance, because it strengthens resilience. Life will test you with setbacks, criticism, and moments of uncertainty. If your confidence is built on arrogance, it will crumble the moment you're challenged.